Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hello.
Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Chris Carr is here.
Hey, y'all.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our little show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we've got lined up. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address on the show, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the great news about it. If you send it in while we're live, we'll get around to it at the end of the show. But if you're listening to our podcast, either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you happen to be watching this show a little bit later on in the day when we're not live, you can still use this tip link because it's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just send it on in. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Again, provided we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, some of people's favorite Hollywood stories are the ones of, did you know this role was originally going to be played by this person? Of course, one of the most famous ones is that Indiana Jones was supposed to be Tom Selleck. Right up to the last minute, but he couldn't get out of his deal or work around the scheduling with this new show he got called Magnum P.I. So they went out and got Harrison Ford. The rest is history. Or Will Smith was supposed to be Neo in The Matrix. Didn't end up having. Speaking of Will Smith was supposed to be Django in Django Unchained. The Hollywood is filled with these stories. But one popped up today that maybe some people knew about, but I've never heard before. John Wick, of course played by Keanu Reeves, was originally supposed to be played by Will Smith. No, I'm kidding. That's the Matrix one. No, apparently the first actor attached to play John Wick was Bruce Willis. This comes from the folks at Cinema Blend who write the following. But how different might the John Wick franchise have looked if Bruce Willis had appeared in the role, as has been revealed? While speaking with The Hollywood Reporter for the 10th anniversary of John Wick, producer and The Fall Guy director David Leitch revealed that when he and director Jad Stileski learned about the project, Bruce Willis was already attached. Leitch and Stileski even said that they entertained doing John Wick with Bruce Willis before they brought the story to Keanu Reeves, who they knew from working on the Matrix movies. Stileski was one of Reeves' stunt doubles in the trilogy. And now I can't stop thinking about how different these seminal action movies would have been with Willis in the lead. All right. This is kind of fascinating about this. Now, of course, the big difference between Bruce Willis and Keanu Reeves is that Willis is literally a decade older than Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, I mean, that would have made it a little bit different. I wonder what kind of change we would have had in the pop cultural reception of John Wick had it been with a guy like Bruce Willis. I mean, prior to John Wick, he brought the bigger star. I mean, yeah, Keanu Reeves did Matrix, but a lot of people forget before John Wick came around, Keanu Reeves' career was basically gone. He was doing a bunch of these little movies that nobody was watching, and basically he had kind of faded out. Much like the way he faded out before The Matrix. Mm-hmm. Then Matrix came and he had a rush. And so how different would that have been if Bruce Willis had been there? I think Bruce Willis would have brought a little bit more, I hate using the word, but gravitas.
Sure.
Maybe to the role at first. But the action would not have come out as smooth. Like the way Keanu Reeves was able to, and yes, they did use some stuntmen, yes, but a lot of the stuff Keanu Reeves did himself. And because of that, a lot of the action and movements were a lot more fluid. Again, he was 10 years the junior of Bruce Willis and all that kind of stuff, and he was able to do all that kind of thing. So I think, while it's fascinating to think about Bruce Willis playing that role, I think it probably all worked out for the best. Because how old is Bruce Willis now? He's approaching his... Ray, can you look that up? I think he's approaching his 70s. But, I mean, his health issues aside, I'm putting...
69, dude.
He's 69? Now, putting his very talked about health issues aside, even if that wasn't the issue, he'd be now approaching 70. And we today would not still be talking about new John Wick movies, which we are with Keanu Reeves. So I think it worked out the way it should have. Anyway, Chris, what was your first reaction when you heard that Bruce Willis was the first actor attached to play John Wick? How do you think it would have made it different? And do you think maybe it would have worked out better if Bruce Willis had played the role, or do you think it worked out better the way it did?
My first reaction was, yeah, that tracks. That makes so much sense, because this was also coming off of Red 2. And so
That's right.
he was already doing, these great action-packed movies about an aging kind of like assassin or government worker or things like that.
By the way, the first Red, so good.
Fun.
The second one,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's all right.
But the first one was great.
It's good. And I do think, too, I love that Sean O'Connell, the author of this Cinema Blend piece, points out something so great here of one of the issues is that John Wick is really slick. So you don't have these moments of, is he going to make it? Because Keanu Reeves is that good and hits his mark so well that you're like, I mean, do these other guys stand a chance against him? Whereas if you are having the more, I'm just coming out of retirement, I haven't been in these streets anymore, you got to shake off those cobwebs, right? And I think Bruce Willis would have been able to play that so well.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that would have been a really interesting take here. I also think, and as we learned with more of his health issues and everything, his frontal temporal dementia that was setting in, he made a lot of movie decisions just to make sure that his family was financially taken care of.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's upsetting right now of going, oh, wow, maybe if he was part of something that was as popular as a John Wick, he wouldn't have had to end his career with so many just like
Straight to
rapid
DVD
fire.
shelves.
Exactly. Yeah. The Walmart bin movies, because he's a fabulous actor. And I always feel like people forget that part. And I know I've been guilty of it, of talking about those straight to the DVD bin movies and going, God, Bruce Willis, How the Mighty Have Fallen, before I knew everything that was going on. And I feel like this maybe would have set him up a little bit better. And he would have had a kind of different legacy towards the end of his career. But that's also assuming that it would have the same success that it had with Keanu in it.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of coulda, woulda, shoulda hypotheticals that is hard to judge how the movie would have turned out.
Still very interesting. You're right. As soon as you hear Bruce Willis and John Wick,
Good old Johnny Matrix.
and John Wick, you're like, yep, that kind of tracks. That would have
Yeah.
made sense. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The original person attached to play John Wick was Bruce Willis instead of Keanu Reeves. Can you picture that? What differences do you think it would have made to the films themselves or their popularity? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Fallout and the world of Fallout is about to have a Kevin problem. Because according to reports, Macaulay Culkin is coming in to join the second season of Fallout. The folks over at CBR wrote this. A major casting update has just been revealed for the second season of Fallout on Prime Video. Former child star Macaulay Culkin, known in part for starring in 2 Home Alone movies, has officially boarded the video game adaptation. Per Deadline, Culkin will appear in a recurring role in Fallout Season 2. Reportedly, the actor will play a quote-unquote crazy genius-type character, but no additional details have been revealed about his role. The casting reunites Culkin with Amazon after he recently did voiceover work for the animated series, The Second Best Hospital in the Galaxy, which I believe his brother did a voice in that too, if I'm not mistaken, at any rate. So this, I think, Jonathan, you sent me this yesterday.
Right, yeah.
I think that's the first time I heard about it. Was Jonathan sent me a text yesterday afternoon, and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, let's address this first. Fallout. So this little video game series comes along and ends up getting nominated for Best Drama Series at the Emmys. That's how good this show was. It just ended up catching a lot of people by surprise by its quality, and they did a terrific job for it. And now I'm sure there's going to be a lot of exciting announcements about people are going to be joining the series. Macaulay Culkin is an interesting one. Now, of course, in the grand scheme of the cosmos, Macaulay Culkin is the name you know, right? But in the last 10 years, it's his brother's. What's his brother's name again?
Kieran.
Kieran Culkin has been winning Emmys, and like he's been having the big shiny star and stuff like that. Be great to see the two of them work together on screen. That would be neat. But to see the actual original boy come into Fallout, is really kind of cool. Now he's been doing other stuff too. Like he's popped up, like wasn't it American Horror Story?
American Horror Story. He was a voice in Intergalactic. He was on Righteous Gemstones.
That's right. He did appear in that. I forgot about that. So like it's not like he disappeared since his parents left him at home. He's kind of still been around. But I mean, this is a huge thing, and it's certainly a big eye popper. I'm excited to hear about this. Chris, what did you think about this when you saw that Macaulay Culkin was joining Fallout? Because you love Fallout, right?
Oh, I love Fallout. And same thing as I texted you guys yesterday. Hell yeah. I'm all for this. I love this. I mean, obviously, Home Alone, My Girl, all of those movies from his youth are great. I really fell in love with Macaulay Culkin in Saved. I thought he just was
right. That's the one I was thinking about. Yeah.
He's so good in that. And honestly, when you have those tasty residuals from a movie like Home Alone, you work when you want to.
Yeah.
And also, you know, he was thrust into the spotlight at such a young age. He was providing for his family at such a young age that I really appreciated him stepping back and kind of picking and choosing projects, being able to take the Mickey out of himself too, doing a lot of Home Alone spoofs and things like that.
Right.
And I love seeing him pop it up and stuff, because when I saw him in Righteous Gemstones, I lost my mind. Him being part of this universe, I think, is great. I think he is such a fun, weird, kooky guy already in real life that's going to just kind of seamlessly integrate himself into this universe. And I really hope we just see something so absolutely bizarro from him. I want people to go, man, you know that Macaulay Culkin kid from Fallout? I want that to be the thing that happens for him here. He's great.
You know, as long as I was totally against this. It's just because I don't know when they film, because I don't want him to miss training camp, and because I want to win that Super Bowl.
Oh God. Okay. What was that him that dressed up
Yeah.
as Joe Burrow? Or was it his brother that dressed up as Joe Burrow? I thought it was, for those of you who missed it, I think it was Kieran Culkin that
It
did
might
it.
have been Kieran because he looked young.
Yeah,
but,
Kieran Culkin dressed up as Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati quarterback who threw for over 400 yards and I lost track of how many, 4 or 5 touchdowns last night. Anyway, Jonathan, you played Fallout, right? You played Fallout. When they describe him as the crazy genius type, does that evoke any memories for you, somebody from the game specifically, or do you think this could be an original character?
Honestly, it could be across the board to a lot of different agencies that are in this world. He might just be something original. Maybe he has something to do with creating like synths, which are like cybernetic organisms. We haven't even seen that in season 1 yet. So yeah, he could be one of anything, but if crazy scientist definitely falls within this world. I mean, for sure.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What did you think about this? And people in the live chat are saying it was Macaulay Ray who dressed up as Joe Burrow.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about this? Macaulay Culkin joining Fallout. Did you watch Fallout? If so, did you enjoy the series? I thought it was great. Maybe you missed it. Maybe this will get you interested in watching season 1 to get ready for him in season 2. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. I'm still very excited about this. I think Macaulay in Fallout is going to be smooth.
Leave it to that McAllister
As smooth
boy.
as my balls. Thanks
Jesus
to one of the
Christ.
sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Manscaped and also Tile Trackers.
Lord.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Manscaped. You know that fresh from the barbershop feeling? Now you can get it anytime with Manscaped's brand new Chairman Pro package. So let's talk about the main star here, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver. This shaver comes with 2 skin-safe blade heads. There's the 4-blade foil for that clean, close shave, and a stubble trimmer if you're keeping a bit of that rugged look. Guys, this thing has Flex Adjust technology, so it adapts to the contours of your face and neck, giving you a smooth shave without the irritation. And yes, it's waterproof, so you can use it right in the shower, no mess. They've also included Power Shave Gel, which makes every shave glide smoothly and the face shave smoother to keep your skin calm, hydrated, and free from razor bumps. So if you're ready to upgrade your grooming game, head over to manscaped.com and use my code CAMPEA to get 20% off plus free shipping. That's manscaped.com using the code CAMPEA. Your face deserves this level of care. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Life 360 Tile Trackers. With the holidays right around the corner, it's all about family, fun, and of course, keeping track of everything while traveling or hosting. For me, that's where Life 360's Tile Trackers are an absolute lifesaver. These little things help keep the holiday stress in check. Whether I'm tracking my keys, wallet, or even our luggage when we travel, Tile Trackers make it easy to keep tabs on everything important. Just open the Tile app to ring it when it's nearby, or track down its location on the map if it's a bit farther. I had mentioned this one time I went to a poker tournament in Vegas, and I keep everything, my wallet, my tablet, and stuff like that, in this satchel backpack of mine, and I thought I lost it. I went crazy for hours until I finally realized I had left it in the car. If I had had Tile Tracker, it would have made my life a lot simpler. And here's one of the things I love about Tile. Tile syncs with Life 360, so I can see the location of my family members and all of our tiled items in one spot. So make your holidays a little less stressful and family-proof your season with Life 360's Tile Trackers. Visit tile.com and use the code Campea to get 15% off. That's tile.com. Use the code Campea. And thank you to our friends at Manscaped and Tile Trackers for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, in the new era of streaming, of course, it all exploded during the pandemic. Then reality kind of set in after the pandemic for a lot of the streaming services, and most of them struggle to turn a profit. I mean, it took Netflix like 15 years to finally actually start turning a profit. And then we saw Disney Plus starting in there. Well, now Warner Brothers' Max is now starting to turn things around. Now, we reported a little while ago that they showed their first quarterly profit, which was like a small thing, but it wasn't a loss, which is what a lot of the other streamers still have. Well, now, according to CNBC and a few other news outlets, Warner Brothers Discovery added 7.2 million Max subscribers, the streamer's largest single quarter jump. This is what they wrote. It said Warner Brothers Discovery said Thursday that its streaming platform Max added 7.2 million global subscribers in the third quarter. It marked the biggest quarterly growth for the streaming platform since its inception. Max now has 110.5 million subscribers as of September 30th. Warner Brothers Discovery flagship streaming service has been growing its subscriber base at a fast clip this year since expanding internationally during the first half. The Warner Brothers Discovery stock was up more than 10% on Thursday. The streaming business has become a bright spot for Warner Brothers Discovery as its traditional TV networks have been pressured by cord cutting and a soft advertising market. Last quarter, Warner Brothers Discovery reported a $9.1 billion write-down on its TV network. So a couple of interesting things here. Let's start with that last part there. Again, more signs that the traditional television broadcast stuff is dying quickly. It's the part that every company is looking to offload and sell off and all that kind of stuff. On the flip side, it is encouraging to see. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence too that right in the era that we're getting things like House of the Dragon, Penguin, more original stuff is popping up on HBO Max, and their long awaited international rollout has added a lot to this. I think they posted finally in the triple digits in millions, in the hundreds of millions for their profit for it. First time that's happened in a long time. So you're finally starting to see, it took years and years of laying groundwork and years of effort, maybe too long, but they're starting to finally see that turnaround and become profitable. What is clear is they have to maneuver more quickly, I think, to offload some of their more traditional media stuff like the television and what have you. But still, I think this is a great sign for them. The whole idea about having their biggest quarterly growth so far, they continue to put out quality product. This is good stuff because, listen, while Paramount Plus puts out some good stuff, Peacock puts out some good stuff, Disney Plus hit and miss, but sometimes they put out some good stuff. Netflix, terrible movie crap, but a lot of their series is quite good. Overall, HBO and Apple Plus has been doing great.
Gold standard.
I still think the gold standard, though, I still think is HBO.
HBO? That's fair.
Yeah, I think they're still it, but we need to see Apple Plus have a longer record. But woo, man, it's good to see them doing well.
Yeah.
It's good to see them doing well. As a matter of fact, even Paramount Plus, just announced its first quarterly profit.
Whoa.
It was much smaller, but it wasn't a loss.
But it's a profit.
But it's a profit. I mean, so decent things are happening there. But
That's good.
anyway, Chris, you see these numbers for, Max actually now being more solidly profitable, had their biggest growth so far. What do you attribute that to? Do you think it's the more popular content that we have coming? Don't forget, we also got for the pop cultural people, we got things like lanterns coming and a lot of stuff like that. What do you attribute this to, and what do you think the overall impact is?
The quality of their content, absolutely. Because Disney at least can kind of skate by on having so much of nostalgia banked on it that I know I'm not going to cut that service because I'm going to get sad and want to watch DuckTales. Like, I understand that this is cheaper for me than therapy or medication, so I'm going to watch DuckTales. I really think it's the content on here. We have excellent shows on HBO Max. Really just high quality stuff that harkens back to when HBO first existed, right? It's not TV, it's HBO. And that's always been the standard there.
Yeah.
Everything there feels so well made, so well executed. It always feels like movies on your small screen, which is fantastic. And if you're going to have a streaming service, you might as well do it that way, as opposed to, like I've said before, I love the trash on Netflix, but you know when it's trash and it feels like trash and it's really low budget. This I think just speaks to the quality and also to the shows that are yet to come on here. I think people are really excited about all the DC content. I think people are so jazzed about the next season of Last of Us. Strap in, folks.
Oh my God, I cannot wait.
If you didn't play the games, I'm so sorry. There's a lot of stuff on there. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't bring up that this year we also did see WB lay off about 1,000 employees. Now, only about 10 of those came from their actual streaming department. Most of them came from financial departments, things like that, and a lot of their cable news network stuff. But I think when we're talking about profit, we do just have to kind of, tilt our hat to that thing that happened earlier in July of, yes, they've made a profit, but they did have to cut back as well. That's standard for a business. But I think overall, their streaming service is really taking off. And the fact that only, 1% of their layoffs came from the streamer is another indication of it doing really well.
And where their priorities are shifting to.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I wonder, though, as I think, we went from that initial gold rush of streaming when the pandemic was happening. The harsh, dark reality after the pandemic when they realized, oh, this isn't going to be what we thought it was going to be. I think we're now going into this era where we're going to now get the culling. I think over the next couple of years, we're going to go through a process where we're going to end up probably with 4 streaming services, whether it's through services dying off, mergers. I think mergers and acquisitions is going to be a big part. But, a lot of people have debated. Everybody's always known that one of them will definitely be Netflix. Netflix will definitely be one of them that is still standing when the whole shakedown happens. I'm thinking Disney Plus is probably going to be another one.
Yeah.
Because they're getting better at what they're doing.
And they're linked with Hulu.
And they're linked with Hulu
Which is-
and ESPN and all that kind of stuff. They've really positioned themselves well there.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think Apple is going to be the third in all that. Not just because they're putting out great content. Every day, I'm going to remind you guys, watch Shrinking. So they're just killing it there. And then I think the other one will be HBO Max. I know there was some question there. Some people were wondering if Max was even going to survive because, going all the way back to the AT&T era owning WB, they've been in a free fall for a long time. Is the work they've done for the last couple of years actually going to start turning things around? And it looks like they are. Now, what'll happen to things like Paramount, Peacock, like AMC Network, like all these other ones, probably mergers and acquisitions, I'm guessing, but we'll have to just kind of wait and see. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, it looks like they've just had their biggest growth that they've ever had. They're now consistently turning profit on it. Great. Do you think they would be one of the 4 surviving streaming services? Do you think they could rank even higher? Maybe you don't even subscribe to them. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the things that got people really pumped in the theaters about when watching The Batman, and I thought The Batman was great. I don't think as good as Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, but I think it's one of the best iterations of Batman we ever saw on screen. I loved this movie. Paul Dano as Riddler and all that kind of stuff. But one of the big pops in theater was when Barry Keoghan popped up as, they never said it, but what was clearly the Joker. And then that deleted scene got released. And that was a great, I mean, I'm glad it got cut from the movie. It didn't have to be in the movie, but it was a great scene. It was a really cool scene. Well, now it looks like Matt Reeves's Batverse, now under James Gunn, Matt Reeves has kind of been expanding out this Gotham universe, and we've got the Penguin, which is amazing. If you guys haven't been watching the Penguin, of course, it's final episode. That's the thing that sucks. Final episode this Sunday, but whatever. We talked about a week or two ago about the fact that word came out that Warner Brothers is actually looking at continuing to expand this Gothamverse that they have. And now, according to the Insider, of course, done by our friend Jeff Snyder, it looks like the next series up is going to be a Joker series with Barry Keoghan. This comes to us from Screen Rant, who wrote the following. The Insider has revealed that The Batman spinoff series focused on Barry Keoghan's Joker is in the works, with the project set between The Batman Part 2 and The Batman Part 3. It has not been made clear if the project is being developed for HBO, for HBO or Max. Guys, they're interchangeable. They're the same thing. For HBO or Max, Keoghan's Joker would return for a brief role in the Batman Part 2 story to set up the spinoff. The report brings along some interesting possibilities for the future of the Batman universe, including the Joker's role in the finale of Robert Pattinson's The Batman trilogy. Okay. Couple of thoughts. On the one hand, I can already hear the people saying, I think some people in the live chat might be saying it too. It's like, really? They got to do the Joker again? And to a degree, I agree. But it is really difficult to have a Batman without Joker at some point. I mean, hey, I thought Matt Reeves did a great job by not launching his Batman series with Joker, instead going with Riddler. I thought that was great. Then they just peppered in a little tease of Joker. Now we've got an entirely new Penguin series. And now, according to this report, if Jeff is right, Batman 2 won't even focus on Joker either, but rather might just peppered in there. So we literally wouldn't be getting a true full Joker until in between Batman 2 and Batman 3, which sets it up well. So I think that's so the whole idea about using Joker. But here's the other thing. Every time they've done Joker, it's been a radically different iteration of Joker. I've said this all the time. Heath's Joker was very different than Jack's Joker. And Jack's Joker was very different than Jared's Joker. And Jared's Joker was very different than Joaquin's Joker. And all their Jokers were very different from the animated Joker. And even just from that brief glimpse we've got of Barry in the first The Batman, this is also another completely different Joker. So it's not like they're just recycling the character. I mean, they're always giving something new and a fresh take on the character. And it looks like they'll do that here as well. I don't know how I would feel about this if I wasn't watching Penguin right now. Like, let's say Penguin, the show, didn't exist, and we just suddenly got this news that there's going to be a Joker series. I don't know how I'd feel about it.
I don't think I'd be into it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be all that excited about it either. Maybe I would. I just don't know. But we do live in a world where we have a Penguin series.
Sure.
And I look at what they have been able to do with that series and how good that series is. And again, it's HBO and Max. And that, I have to say, makes me, on top of the fact that Barry is just a world-class actor, I didn't particularly love, what's the movie he just did? He got
Saltburn.
Saltburn. I didn't particularly love Saltburn.
I hate Saltburn so much.
Oh, come on.
But
I hate it.
Hate is
it
such
got
a strong word.
so much Oscar attention. And regardless of what you think about the movie, oh my God, Barry Keoghan was so good in it. All that combined makes me read this and go, hell yes. If Jeff is correct. And listen, Jeff has been responsible for breaking some of the biggest stories we've had over the last couple of years. But Jeff is also sometimes fed wrong information. So there have been some stories he's broken that's not turned out. So take all that with that grain of salt, that we still have to take this as possibility. But if this report is correct, I got to tell you, in light of The Batman and in light of how good Barry is, and in light of how amazing the Penguin has been, planting a Joker series in between Batman's 2 and 3, I think is great. The one drawback, Chris, I have to it though, the one thing I don't like so much is that probably means we wouldn't get a Penguin season 2 till at least after Batman 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, you read about this. What's your thoughts?
I was one of the people who, when Barry Keoghan showed up in the Batman, I went, oh, okay.
Really? It didn't work for you?
No, it
Okay.
didn't. And I understand if you're excited about this. Also, I just want to point out in the chat real quick, I think this encapsulates Saltburn so well. Back to back, we have Saltburn is overrated. Saltburn was great. There's two schools of thoughts. The ending, I think, ruined that movie. But if you love it, good for you. I love that for you. This is my issue with doing a Joker series. And we talked about this when it was first announced, of doing more Batman's Rogues Gallery TV shows.
In this Gotham
universe.
Yeah.
It needs to be earned. It needs to be earned. And I want to know why somebody gets a spinoff. Oz earned that show. Oswald Cobblepot went, oh my gosh, this absolute D-lister of a character deserves a show. He's so interesting and so fascinating. And what we have going for us here, at least, is that this is a Gotham in which Batman has already tangoed with the Joker. He's already put him in Arkham. So we've got a backstory that we can go to and see how that all unfolded, or see Joker currently in Arkham, how he's trying to run the place, how he's trying to play, 4D chess from behind those walls, etc., etc. But I know that they would do a great job with this. I'm very confident they would, but it feels very, very early. Just go, and he gets a series. I know everyone knows who the Joker is. I understand that every person who is aware of Batman knows that Joker is the other counterpart here. But I kind of want to explore those other villains. I would love to do some kind of Court of Owls. I would love Mr. Freeze. Oberon Sexton if we wanted to do something really obscure. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff. Professor Pig exists in this world so easily and beautifully.
Yep.
And I understand the appeal of wanting the big fish that's the Joker and taking your spin on it and making it your own, as all these other directors have, to your point earlier. But I feel like there's so many cool things that you can do and explore, and Joker feels like the easy choice almost, of just, well, we know everyone likes that character, knows that character, so let's do that. And you obviously have a great talent behind it. You've got, an incredible Oscar-nominated actor in the role already. I just don't know how I feel about immediately greenlighting a show about it. It's just a little early.
To be fair, though, this won't come out until after Batman.
See,
2.
that's what I was going to bring up. The whole idea about earning it is that because he's so good when he's on screen,
he may take on the
we
Penguin
sometimes
role, I don't know.
forget that Colin Farrell didn't actually have a lot of screen time in the Batman,
Sure.
right? And if their plan is to give us Batman 2 and give us just enough of that Joker, that will then set him up for the series, much like the Batman set up Penguin for his series. That's theoretical in theory. I agree with you that you have these rich characters like, Pig and all these others. I actually think, though, I wonder, though, if to truly be able to appreciate those characters, I almost feel like you have to understand Joker's place in Gotham first. Like, if you understand that this is a Gotham that Joker exists, and it's within that Gotham that we have Professor Pig, and we have, I don't know if you'd want to do KG Beast. That's one I've been pushing for a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Or Court of Owls, there have been tiny, tiny Court of Owl hints in Penguin, by the way.
Yeah.
If you've been paying attention.
That's why I really want it.
Yeah. So, I think almost first, establishing Joker is an important part of establishing Gotham. Maybe. So I guess it all depends on their approach. Because if they can set him up the way, as good as they set up Oz in the first Batman, in the second one leading into the series, could be great. But I agree with you. I think if they don't do a good job of that in the second Penguin, it may misfire for them going into a series.
Absolutely. And I have confidence in this creative team, right? They've given us a fabulous world to live in. I love this version of Gotham. I love these versions of these characters. I just want to make sure that they stay the course and keep delivering on this, so that we don't have a fantastic, juicy character like this kind of wasted, especially if you want to build up to some of those other characters or dive into a world where we can effectively do Hush on screen or something like that.
I lean towards Hush for a while. My only issue, and that's one of my favorite stories, actually. The problem is that we already kind of touched that with Riddler because
Yep.
he acted like he knew he was Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
It's just that then they were like, oh no, he didn't know he was Bruce Wayne. I mean, which also relates to other runs, but I'm like, we've already done that now, so I don't want to threaten, like, because then I would also think about Arkham, the second Arkham video game, the Doctor. Why am I going blank on the Doctor?
Hugo Strange?
Strange new. You know, so we've already like done that. So then I was thinking, what if it's like Hugo Strange and it's Joker in Arkham and he's our link to other characters like the Rogues Gallery, and the whole time he's kind of playing like a sort of like a Silence of the Lambs, kind of helping out Batman, but this is really 4D chessing himself out of Arkham.
Yeah.
And that's where we lead into the third. Maybe something like that could work. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
There's some people in live chat saying things like, "Oh, Deathstroke."
Nah, I don't know.
Deathstroke. Remember, this is a year 2 Batman.
Yeah.
Deathstroke's not a character you bring in with Batman until Batman is a veteran of doing what he's doing.
It's early days.
And something. What about Robin? Oh God, please don't do something as stupid as Robin.
Also,
Anyway,
to the chat's point here too, a couple people are saying that, you know, we need to rehab the character or change up the character after Folie à Deux. That was a totally different Joker. That's a totally
Yeah.
different universe.
Yep.
And I say that as a person who's not a big fan of that universe. I think they're apples and oranges.
but you know what? To that point,
Yeah.
I think maybe now that you brought that up, I wonder if part of my enthusiasm for this idea of a Joker is because I want a different Joker than
Oh,
the
yeah.
one we
You just
just
gotta
got.
live through Doing that old
something
one.
I was going to touch on when we first brought up this segment is that, you know, people, whether you like him or not, people were kind of disappointed with Leto's performance, but now the DCU is gone anyway.
True.
And now with Joker 2, it's like, well, we have all these successful Jokers. Well, now Joker 2 kind of screwed the pooch on that one. So I think people's tastes are now looking for a Joker they can get behind.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
And if you could do, I mean, look, there are still, as much as every Joker we've gotten has been a very different iteration, you could already tell that this one will be a much darker Joker, I think. I mean, I'm basing that on like 45 seconds of screen time, so it could be totally wrong. But I feel like this Barry Keoghan Joker would be a much darker, more murdery Joker.
Now, is that Arkham series still coming out?
No, as far as I know,
that was
no.
canceled, right? That
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
have been a great setup.
But
for
even
this,
that,
for this Joker,
even
right?
that was set for the DCU, not for a
right,
Reeves
okay.
world.
So, no, remember Reeves? They were looking.
Reeves was
I
behind it.
Yeah, they were looking at something like that. So, anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? If the reports are true, what do you think about the idea of them setting up a Joker series in the vein of the Penguin series, but it takes place between the events of the second Batman movie that's still coming and the third Batman movie? I gotta tell you, I kind of really like it because I like the possibilities what we see with Barry Keoghan. But to Chris's point, there's arguments to be made that there's other rich characters they can use as well. Maybe it's not time yet. Who knows? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Guys, we all know November's all about gratitude. And along with those we appreciate, let's not forget to thank ourselves. In a world as busy as ours, just making it through each day can be an accomplishment. One important way to show yourself some appreciation is by investing in your mental health. And that's where therapy can really make a difference. Therapy isn't just for those in crisis. It's for anyone wanting to learn better coping skills, set healthy boundaries, and work towards being their best selves. You often heard me talk about that it's great that we prioritize our physical health, but it's time that we also prioritize our mental health. Let's start encouraging ourselves and others to take steps to improve our mental health as well. So if you've ever thought about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, super flexible, and fits right into your schedule. You just fill out a quick questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can even switch therapists anytime at no extra charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Campea today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that all down, let's move into the important stuff. Your comments and questions, shall we? Jonathan, what do we got up first?
Okay, well, Yo Mama says The Substance is now on VOD. Have you seen it? Wow, I've never been so turned on in the first hour of a movie and so horribly disgusted in the second hour. I will never forget this movie. Applaud this Cronenberg-esque lady director for bringing on the extra filthy.
Now, you watched, I remember when you watched the film, how did you sum it up to me after you saw it? Like, how did you
Yeah,
describe
it definitely felt Cronenberg with a touch of...
You got that from the trailer.
Yeah, with a touch of The Shining in it, too. And a little bit of The Thing.
But you were also very disgusted by it.
Okay, so there's
maybe
definitely...
not disgusted, revolted or something?
there were scenes where I had to... So this is how I was. I could listen, but I had to keep my eyes closed. Because... Even just close-up scenes of them eating at a dinner table, and it's like, oh man,
No.
yeah,
No.
it's rough.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, it'll certainly be fun to speculate who could join Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman for a boy band movie. Rumored or not, someone like Channing Tatum makes sense to join them. A couple others off the top of my head: John Krasinski and Chris Evans. I'd love to see Chris Evans in a boy band kind of thing.
Yeah, I like both of those names, actually.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Krasinski, because, of course, he and Ryan Reynolds just worked together on, what's If?
Yeah.
That's right, Imaginary Friend, which I don't know why some people didn't like that movie. I really
I'm
liked
still
it.
confused by that.
I
it's
enjoyed
subjective,
it.
but I feel like that's a
Yeah,
really
I don't think
charming
it's
movie.
I don't think it was a top 5 movie of the year or anything,
No.
but I thought it was.
It's cute.
Yeah, I thought it touched me. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, so that would be a really good one. Who might be some other good guys?
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Is he how old is Ryan Gosling though? Is he early 40s now?
He's
Maybe he was the youngest one of the
Maybe,
group.
yeah.
You know, there's always like the youngest one in the
43.
group.
See, I'm wondering if Ryan is going to be like the younger one in the group.
I know,
we
right?
should be looking for more guys around Hugh's age.
Yeah.
maybe.
So that anyway, that raises some interesting questions. All I know is that I think this movie is going to be really good because one of the things that Ryan does so well, and I can say this because Mint Mobile, who is still my phone carrier, they are no longer they were our sponsors for like years. So
I'm still a carrier if they're gin. So
No carrier. I carried in my tummy.
I smuggle it here every day.
Ryan's Gin, they are not sponsors of the show anymore, so I can say this, is that one of the things that I love about Ryan's stuff, especially when you look at movies like, say, Definitely Maybe, and things like that, or even something like If, is that they always do such a great job of communicating, in the movies that intend to do it, of like having a funny vessel that are basically a transport device for really deeper, more emotional truths in it. And if you can do something like that with boy band, I'm excited about it. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Korea Got Soul, who says, hello, John and the gang. So I know Fantastic Four is coming out. I know RDJ is playing Doctor Doom, but do you think we'll get to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man in this universe? What are your thoughts?
No, never going to happen. And I'm not even 100% sure, by the way, that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in Fantastic Four as Doctor Doom. Now, if I had to put $5 on it, I would guess he pops up maybe in one scene or in a post-credit or something like that. But I still find there's a bunch of people out there who just assume that, this Fantastic Four movie, the Robert Downey Jr. is going to be the villain of Doctor Doom in it. I don't know that he's going to be in it at all. And even if he is, I think it's going to be a very, very tiny spot. But no, I'm not expecting to see Tom Cruise as Tony Stark. All right, what's next?
Well, huge Superman fan, tip $20.
Thank you so much,
Yay.
Superman fan. Appreciate that, man.
Says, hey all, with the news of Simon Kinberg coming on to helm a supposed new trilogy for Star Wars, would you say he may be a good pick to be a success for Kathleen Kennedy at some point? Like any career, he's had some major wins and losses, but could it work? Depends on if
Well,
he can be
Kevin
an
Feige
exec.
himself has said major. No, there's nothing. I like Simon very much. I like him very much. But the wins, the losses, he has got no experience running a big company.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Like I don't know why people still think, like, honestly, the best person to succeed Kathleen Kennedy is somebody you and I have never heard of. Honestly, somebody who's just never been a profile person. They're just the best business person in the world. They know how to run an operation. They know how to put the right people in charge of different areas, and they run a business. So no, I love Simon Kinberg. I do. I'm a big fan, but no, I don't think Simon Kinberg should be the one to replace Kathleen Kennedy.
If only Alan Horn was 20 years younger.
If only Alan Horn. Alan, what are you doing, man?
You should have been born 20 years later.
Come back. Listen.
Chapek's
Come
available.
back. Come back, Alan. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, what's up, Campea crew? Heard a rumor a while back stating that Keke Palmer was interested in playing Rogue and saw some really good concept art. Think she could pull off the accent and would be great chemistry with Tatum's Gambit. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy, and it's not a rumor. She definitely wants it.
Yeah, she definitely wants it. I don't think there's any truth to her being considered for it. But listen, if tomorrow they announce Keke Palmer, who I really first got exposed to with Nope. I'm not a huge fan of Nope, but she was great in it.
She's phenomenal.
You know what I'm an even bigger fan of? She hosts that game show with Jimmy Fallon. With that what is it called again? Password?
I think so.
Have you ever watched it?
No.
She's great on it as the host.
She does everything. We've talked about this so much with Hugh Jackman. She's another triple threat person who sings, dances, acts, hosts.
And she's great
incredible.
in that Usher music video. That Usher basically, anyway, I won't go into that story. A lot of TMZ stuff there. But I think she would be wonderful. But I also kind of think they're going to go for a younger Rogue. Keke Palmer isn't 45 or anything like that, but I think they're going to go for a younger Rogue. But if they announce Keke Palmer as Rogue, I'd be totally down for it.
Yeah.
She's great.
I
All right,
had
what's
someone
next?
try to fight with me that Rogue was a Southern belle and needed to be from like an aristocratic Southern family. And I was like, oh, tell me you haven't read a comic book.
Yeah.
Or run away from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
All right, what's next?
Joe Adonis with a three-parter says, hi, John, Jonathan, Chris, and Ray. I did a double feature yesterday, Here and Heretic. I thought I would be bored with Here looking at a single perspective, but to my surprise, I got emotional. Time does fly, and now I'm feeling the early midlife crisis. I'm 41, by the way, with a tinge of existential crisis. Then I watched Heretic. That was intense. Hugh Laurie, sorry, Jonathan, I mean Grant, is excellent in it. Hey, man. You can take strays. My existential crisis doubled, but it was the most fun I had in a theater in a long while. That's the important part. I'm going to rewatch The Penguin and cheer myself up.
That's something when you're rewatching The Penguin to cheer yourself up. Although Penguin is really, really good. Listen, I also think it speaks something to a quality of a movie. Look, I always say this, movies are experiential events. And when movies can draw you in so much to actually have you walking out, even thinking about things and all that kind of stuff. I think even though, here is whatever, but if a movie can have that impact on you, I think that speaks to the talent of the filmmakers to be able to do that, to immerse you in so much you have that experience. And sometimes those are experiences that are good to have. I still think it's funny to hear. To cheer myself up, I went and watched a story about a young man who murdered his own two little brothers. Or one was older, one was younger. But anyway, I'm glad you had the experience nonetheless. And thanks for writing it, man. I appreciate it.
We all need laughs, John.
We do. We do. Whatever way you get your laughs, humor is subjective.
Cynthia says, your thoughts on the duo that is Goldstein and Daly. They've directed Vacation, Game Night, and recently Dungeons and Dragons. They've also paired up on writing several together, including Spider-Man Homecoming, but also including Burt Wonderstone.
I don't care what nobody else says. I like the incredible Burt Wonderstone. I did. Not one of Steve Carell's best. I agree. But man, Jim Carrey was so funny in that movie. I liked it. Anyway, regardless. I think these guys are great. Straight up great. I love Game Night. And what they did with Dungeons and Dragons was fabulous. And one of the reasons that I really got turned off of Ezra Miller, because some people forget they were supposed to do Flash. These guys, the guys who did Game Night and Dungeons and Dragons and did such a great job on those, they were supposed to do Flash. And then Ezra Miller forgot his place and went to the studio to get them bumped off, saying, oh, I want to do this. And eventually they had enough of Ezra Miller's shit and they said, all right, we're out. And they left after being attached to it for ages. And they left. And listen, I still ended up really liking the Flash movie. I've been very clear about that. I like that Flash movie. I do. but I really lament that we didn't get to see their Flash movie. I think they would have been great, but honestly, I think they're one of the best tandems working in the business right now, and they excite me a lot. All right, what's next?
We got Wesley Cunningham who says, I've been screaming forever how theaters need to focus improving the experience to get attendance up. My AMC's converted the standard screens to laser, and it's a world of difference. The old bulbs would always be dim. This and A-list got to be the priority.
Listen, again, with all the commentary I have to make about AMC theaters, I still think A-list is the single greatest thing ever brought to movie fans. And by extension, things like Regal Unlimited and things like that, these are great. But I remember, like, to your point about how just improve that experience will increase attendance. I don't know if you guys remember. So, like, at the AMC Burbank 16, the second busiest movie theater in the country where we used to have our studio was there at AMC Burbank 16. Within half a mile in either direction, there were two other AMCs, the AMC 6 and the AMC 8. All like within a mile of each other.
Mm-hmm. You just walk to each one.
Right? And every once in a while, Ann and I would go to the 6 or the 8 because like some smaller indie film or some international film was playing there that wasn't playing at the big 16. And it was horrible. The seats were old. The sound was okay. But I mean, it was just terrible.
The screen sucked though.
The screen sucked. Then they completely revamped, and nobody was ever there at the 6 or the 8.
Yeah.
Then they revamped them. They put in the leather reclining seats in all of them. They updated the screens. They refreshed the lobbies on both the 6 and the 8. And then all of a sudden, we started going to movies there, and all of a sudden, those theaters started getting full because they just increased. It was just a more pleasant experience going. I said this on the other show. It's a two-pronged thing. Number one, the studio's got to make movies that audiences enjoy watching, and theaters have to provide the environment that's an enjoyable and fun environment to be in to watch them. And when you start putting an investment to making the theaters a more grand, fun, enjoyable, comfortable experience, more people will come. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that. All right, what's next?
Andy Newton says, think I'm going to apply for a Lucasfilm presidency. Seems like a good job security.
You get tenure. Well, you can't fire them. They got tenure. I am telling you, I am convinced that Kathleen Kennedy has photos of the Disney board fucking a pig or perhaps a donkey or some sort of mammal. I don't know. How else has she kept her job?
The mind reels. Why is that where we go to? It's not Black Mirror.
Because it's something bad. It's something. She's got something on them. Because there is no conceivable reason. Look, I'm 100%. Her resume is perfect. I'm 100% behind the fact that George Lucas picked her. I'm 100% behind the fact that the Disney board and Bob Iger approved it. All for. But you can have the right idea and have it not work out, and you got to be willing to move on when it doesn't work out. It has not worked out. How is she still in this job? We haven't had a Star Wars movie on the screen in 5 years. We've had no less than 13 filmmakers come and go from announced projects. Nothing is happening. And the only movie they've got coming is an extension of a TV show. How does she still have this job? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I am sorry, Chris, but fucking a donkey is the only thing I got.
Why is it the only thing you can think of?
You can give me a better one.
That statement taken out of context is damning.
Internet, do you think?
I am open to other scenarios, but that's the only one I can think of that would be so bad that it keeps her in her job.
I like this one if she has Walt's frozen head and is holding it hostage.
Okay. That's a great
man.
One more step. I unplugged the freezer. I don't know. Maybe. All right.
I've been by that freezer before. Some serious. Supreme Leader says, hey, John and crew, I was wondering if anyone had any special memories watching a movie on their birthday. It's my birthday today, so I'm seeing a double feature of Heretic and Anora to celebrate. My mom and I love watching your show, so thanks for the memories. Little Bob Hope there for nobody that gets that reference.
I was gonna go Fall Out Boy.
That's a really good question. You know what? I don't think I do have any memories of watching a movie on my birthday. Or honestly, the only time I can remember an important specific day was like, well, I'll keep that one personal. But I mean, I remember like certain movies my family and I would always watch on Christmas time, but I don't ever remember one. Do you got one, Chris? Like a birthday movie you watched?
Birthday movie?
Yeah.
I don't think so. My birthday is marred by
You got one, Ray?
vodka and
Mayhem,
karaoke.
baby.
Which one?
Mutant Mayhem.
Oh yeah, he did Mutant Mayhem.
Oh, that's right. We took you on your birthday to that.
Yeah.
We did a whole Mutant Mayhem themed party for you too. I remember. That's right. That was good. All right, what's next?
Julia Goodwin says, why aren't people seeing Conclave? It makes me want to scream. It's so good, and it's flying under the radar. Have you guys seen it yet? I highly recommend it. I always felt it would do a little smaller box office, that kind of thing.
Nobody ever thought that Conclave was going to be a big box office hit.
Yeah.
It looked like it would be an Oscar contender.
Exactly.
But it's not one of those movies that audiences are going to run and flock out to see.
There's a lot of talking in that movie, I find.
Yeah, so much talky.
Hey, babe, you want to go see a real sexy movie this weekend? Let's go see Conclave.
Okay, when I saw it, the woman behind me sounded just like that. And
Oh,
I kept
no.
rolling my eyes.
Oh, no.
She's like, period. And I'm like, oh my God,
Put
please
the
stop.
smoke out.
Yep. Finally have my tickets to go see it. So that's good. Finally got my tickets. So I haven't seen it yet, but I've been dying to see this one ever since they gave us
Great performances.
ever since they gave us the preview for it at CinemaCon. I mean, look, Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, Jonathan Lithgow. I mean, like, what more do you need? And so this is going to be a Best Picture contender. Ray Fiennes is going to be a Best Actor nominee. Cannot wait to watch this. So now I finally got my tickets. All right, what's next?
We got Ryan Jacobs says, the other day I figured out how they're going to do the live action Lego movies. It'll either be a Karate Kid style movie instead of karate tournaments. It's Lego building competitions. Lots of drama. Or if horror, parents stepping on their kids' Legos. That is painful.
That's the worst.
But there's 3 of them though.
I have done that. I have done that. That is like, that's one of the more unpleasant physical sensations you can have. I don't think they're gonna do
Next to a donkey.
like, because that's not a live action Lego movie. Like somebody just playing with Lego and building Lego. No. It's going to have actual Legos come to life. So I don't think it's just going to be about. It's not a movie about Lego. It's a live action Lego movie. So I do still really think, although nobody has confirmed this, so I could be wrong, but I really do think it's going to be done in the style of Sonic the Hedgehog, where you have a live action environment and world with live action characters and people, and then CG animated Lego characters, so much like Sonic. But that's my guess at any rate. All right, what's next?
Dad Joke says, hi, John and team. I was watching the original 90s Ninja Turtle movie yesterday, and this movie was much better than it had any business being. In your opinion, well, that's very leading. In your opinion, why do you agree with me? What makes this movie so great? To me, it's the story, dialogue, pace, and use of drama.
I
don't think John appreciated
I don't
that
think
film.
it was that great.
Dude, that movie hit.
I didn't think it
Yeah.
was that great when I was a kid either. I didn't think it was so great. But Chris, I heard your reaction. You do think it was great.
Hell yeah.
So maybe you should answer that.
Oh man. Okay. Well, first of all, our April O'Neil in that, Judith O'Hare, killed it. She was so great.
And I even loved, what's his name, with the hockey.
Casey Jones.
Casey
in it. Casey
Jones.
Jones is really great in this. I think, especially for the '90s, the actual turtle construction was really cool. Seeing them actually as practical things.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the whole Raphael recovery stuff, where April would be sketching him, and he was just like in a deep-seated depression.
Dude, and it blew my mind when he screamed, damn it. I'm
Yes.
like, whoa!
Oh, as a kid, it was just like, I'm watching the most intense film of my entire life. This is cinema, and it's never going to get better than this.
And it never did.
And it never did.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything good since.
So
I've never seen anything good.
I actually had and I like almost wore that out, but I had the soundtrack, the original motion picture soundtrack, on cassette tape. And I just wore that thing out as a kid.
Man.
All right, what's next?
We got Reese Jones who says, I've just done a double feature, a lot of double features today of Paddington and Red 1. Paddington is a much better film, but I had fun with Red 1, and that's all we can
This
ask.
must be in the UK, because I think
Yeah, the
Paddington,
early.
Paddington is now out in the UK, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
it is.
Man, I don't know. I hope, let me just double check this. I want to see where Red One is at. Red One.
Don't do it, John.
Tomatoes. Because it was at 32, I think was the last we checked.
Boy.
Well, it's at 99 in Ray and I's hearts.
That's holding steady. And,
It's holding at 32.
and more reviews.
Couple more reviews. It's holding at 32%.
They'll come around.
Yeah.
So look, I'm gonna go see this. I'm gonna hope that I enjoy it. Look, I'm not looking for Conclave. If they do a good job of having some warm moments and making me laugh, it'll be good enough. I just don't think it will. I hope it does, but I hope for Chris's and Ray's sake it is.
I mean, I heard it was the conclave of Christmas action films.
That's what I'm
The
excited for.
conclave of
that.
Christmas action movies.
Have you guys seen, the chat brought this up, have you guys seen the Dear Santa trailer? The Paramount Plus Jack Black movie?
No.
No.
A kid accidentally writes to Satan instead of Santa.
Oh my God, that sounds already.
And so Jack Black, as Satan, comes to hang out with the kid. I'm so stoked for
Is
it.
it like Orange County?
Is
Where
it
it's him-
Orange County?
Him just being like, hey kid, you're gonna get 3 wishes from the devil. It's great.
Okay, no, but I am now intrigued.
Sold.
It's gonna be a good Christmas, you guys.
It sounds better than Red One.
I'm so
How
excited
dare
for
you.
all of this weird stuff.
I'll check it out.
That's cute. It's all about Nosferatu.
The best Christmas film of all time. Nosferatu.
All right, what's next?
Kratos says, boys and lovely young lady, I hope they start the project off with the young, vengeful Greek demigod Kratos, then develop him into the big bad daddy Asgard god-killing Kratos we know
Big
and
Cat
love.
Daddy.
Gerard Butler as Papa Kratos, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ricky Tiki Taki as younger Kratos.
I'm going to say something that I think a lot of people are going to disagree with.
Tiki-taki, yes.
I don't think you start with younger Kratos. I think you start with the God of War, like the recent games. You start with that era Kratos. I think you just start right from the story of the more recent God of War, that he's lost his wife. He's got a young son who we later, what was his name before we found out he was Loki?
Boy.
Yeah, other than, I can't remember his name, but boy, it was good enough. But at any rate, I honestly think that's where you start. You start in the really rich story part. You don't, because here's the problem. If you just go back and start with young Kratos, you're risking it not catching on and not getting, I think you start from that more recent God of War movie, and you start with the grizzled more, and you tell backstory through it. So I personally think that's the right way for them to go.
I'm totally against that. I think they should take pics with Tom Cruise, Gerard, Russell Crowe, and announce it before.
That's right. A whole God of War universe is coming.
Yeah.
We're got 8 movies lined up.
Take pics before you even get
Take-
costumes.
before you even get them out there.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got Wish says, I'm through the first 4 episodes of Shrinking Season 2. I love Penguin, but this show is special and the best on TV right now. My Phil was killed in a car accident, FIL. I'm not sure. My wife and I are laughing and crying hard each episode. I wish I could tell Jason Segel thank you.
Look, I know every episode seems like a big evangelical event for me preaching the gospel of shrinking, but the show is so special. It touches you emotionally while making you laugh at the same time. And it's just such a well done, well written, so quick, so witty, such rich, wonderful characters. Anne and I went back to watch. We were with some friends of ours who hadn't seen Shrinking the other night. We watched the first 3 episodes again. And I forgot, like, there's a guy, without giving context, like, this kind of thing. A guy is talking to like a 16-year-old girl who recently lost her mom, right? And they're having a bit of an argument over the fact that he threw away a dead plant. He said, "Girl, that plant was deader than your dead mom." I'm like, oh, but in the context, of the way they set it up, it was actually really warm. Like you were like, oh, what did he say? But I mean, the shows, and again, Harrison Ford has not been this good in decades. It has been decades since Harrison Ford has been this good. He's amazing in it. You got to watch Shrinking. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I agree. Like, you feel like crying, and then you're laughing your guts out, and then you're kind of teary-eyed again. It's such a beautiful show. It's so well done. All right, what's next?
Calvin says, "Hey John, about Kinberg. You said yesterday that he wrote Mr. Smith, but he wrote the movie. All the TV credits are inspired by the original characters created by him. Couldn't find any involvement with the series, but he also only wrote 6 episodes of Rebels."
Oh, he was listed as 74. When I looked at him, when I looked him up when I saw his listings in IMDb, they listed him as 74. But whatever, he was the creator of the show along with Dave Filoni. And all that kind of stuff. So if I go to, let me just double check this. Yeah, it says he did 8 episodes of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Anyway, I'll take your word for it on that. But again, his work on Logan, The Martian, Days of Future Past, stuff like the fact that he was a co-creator and a writer on one of my favorite Star Wars things in the last 20 some odd years in Star Wars Rebels. Like, and listen, he's got some big L's on his resume as well. No doubt. 100%. I like, that's one of the reasons why, directing is not his thing, and he shouldn't direct these movies at all. But I think he's got the mentality for this that I think he could do very well. I think he could do well. And he is a hardcore Star Wars nerd. On top of all that. So, and that's not the make or break, but it's a nice little thing to add. So yeah, I think he'd be very good for it. I know there's a lot of people out there who are shitting on it, but everybody's going to shit on no matter what name they put it. Every name you could mention, there's going to be a lot of people who shit on the name. Simon Kinberg is no different, but Simon Kinberg has so much experience. He has a lot of big wins. And as long as he's not directing, because he's not a director, as long as he's not directing, I think this could work out well, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
Calvin says, "I respect Kinberg's work as a producer and creator, but as a writer, Fantastic Four, Triple X, Last Stand, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix are hard to stand. I know that there's Sherlock and Jumper. Afraid of him writing for Star Wars, though. Okay with producing."
Well, yeah, again, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Sherlock, I think he did great with Sherlock. Rebels... I thought also the writing, I didn't love the show, but I thought the writing on Invasion, Ray, I know you liked Invasion.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the writing on Invasion was very good.
I love Invasion.
And clearly his writing in the Star Wars universe is quite good. So again, like I'm the first guy to acknowledge, listen, he's definitely got some big L's and questionable stuff on there, but also remember this. We talked about this before several times. I have read many really good scripts to things that turned out to be bad movies. A good script does not equal a good movie. It's hard to have a good movie without a good script. But there are lots of good scripts that turned into bad movies. Because all you can do is write the script. Because, we talked about this on the show the other day too, Chris. Tell me what you think about this. In watching a movie or TV show, right? My contention, when I think the kind of the translation point is, because again, I think it's very, very difficult to have a good movie without a good script, but in coming to a great, enjoyable movie, I think it's 20 to 30% good script, telling of your story, and it's 70 to 80% of the telling of that story. It's the telling of the story. So, I mean, I always bring up that horrible Clash of the Titans movie. What's the guy in the Avatar movie's name again? That they try to make him the biggest movie star in the world for a while. The main star of Avatar.
Dev Patel?
Dev Patel.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No. Sorry, like James Cameron's Avatar.
Sam Richardson?
Worthington?
Sam Worthington. Thank you.
Worthington.
Goodness gracious.
So like Sam Worthington was in that like horrible. I
Dev
read
Patel,
the script to
I'm
that movie. I read the script to that movie before that movie came out. And that script was really good. I remember me and some other the online guys, we got our hands on the script and we all thought the script was great. And then we watched the movie. It's like, yeah, this is this script, but it is not coming across the way,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, sometimes like he's written some things that have turned out great. He's written some things that turned out crap, but don't always blame the writer. Especially if you've got a writer where they do have a number of big wins. I'm just saying, just take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
All
I can
right.
see
Anyway,
that.
what's next?
All right. Rushmore says, John, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Grendel movie starring Jeff Bridges, Bryan Cranston, and Dave Bautista? Was a big fan of the '07 Beowulf movie, hoping this can be on par or better.
Wait a second. You said '07. That's not the 3D animated.
Yeah.
That was in '07?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep.
Like that's 17 years old?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Anyway, I like that Beowulf movie too. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really familiar with this one. Is it also animated or is it live action? Or
I don't know. This is the first time
I'll be
hearing
honest
of
with you,
it.
I'm not familiar with this project. I have not heard about this project. Listen, it is a classic story, right? Obviously Quentin Tarantino won't watch it because I've already seen it. So whatever. But I mean,
Nice.
it's a classic story that is
Got 'em.
rich to have new telling,
Yeah,
tellings of
You
them.
got him.
Got him.
Got him. Been waiting all week for that one.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but I'm always up for a new telling of that.
Yeah, I don't
story
even
if you
see
can
it
get
like
one.
on Box Office Mojo or anything. Maybe it's going to be a streamer. I have no idea.
All right. Anyway. All right. What's next?
Tron says, if you're looking for something to add to your worst of the year list, I'm not. Watch Harold and the Purple Crayon, one of the laziest, bizarre kids films I've ever seen. Just horrible what's happened to Zach Levi's career.
This is how bad that movie is. Now, and I full disclosure, I didn't watch it. I knew I didn't need to, so I didn't watch it. But this is how bad this movie is. You ready? Netflix turned it down.
Oh wow.
It's on there now, though. Oh, you mean for producing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for producing and making
Oh.
it just a straight to Netflix original thing.
Okay.
So they probably picked it up in the residual, like
Yeah.
the licensing afterwards, but they turned it down as the first window.
Damn.
That's how bad that movie is.
Yeah, they picked up that phone. They're like, Netflix, no.
Yeah. That's the great thing. What was that in South Park?
South Park.
So, Netflix, you're greenlit.
Netflix or greenlit.
That's how bad. Anyway. All right, what's next?
I thought you were about to say Crayola went out of business. That's how bad
Yep.
it was.
They don't make purple crayons anymore.
Yeah.
They go out. They filed for bankruptcy.
They're like, that particular color, we're never
Yeah,
doing
you
again.
gotta get rid of it. It's associated with Zach
Yeah.
really.
Corilus, or I'll just say Stromboli.
Good.
Whenever Mr. Campea does the bow and finger circling at the beginning and end of the John Campea show, I do the same. So he's done the right back at you.
Oh, I thought you mispronounced Bowfinger. Like, why are we talking
Yeah,
about
I know, right?
Yeah, I remember I did that one show, and I don't know why. And I've just done it ever since. I honestly don't know why. But now it's just reflex to me now. It's when I start a show and I just do that. I don't know why. But yes, I've had several people tell me that too. So I have no idea where it came from or why I do it. All right, what's next?
Okay, Johnny Wick with a two-parter says, so I saw John Wick 10th anniversary in theaters for the first time. To be honest, when it first came out, I wasn't interested because I thought it was another action film nobody knew and story getting revenge, murdering his dog from deceased wife. That didn't sound good. Part two, that put me off for years when these John Wick movies came out. Even the fourth one spoiled me, so I was like, what's the point? But now, after seeing, I'm in. I like it. It makes me want to watch the others now. Your son stole John Wick's car and killed his dog. Oh,
That line,
that's interesting to go back. You had never seen him before.
Yeah,
so.
that line. Oh, and by the way, you're not alone. When that first, people forget now. It's like people forget that Robert Downey Jr.'s career was nowhere
Oh,
before Iron Man came around, right? They forget about this. Like when John Wick was coming out, he had just done that one samurai movie. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Oh, the Ronin one.
Yeah, the Ronin one. And that
47 Ronin.
nobody went to watch. And he
I
did.
did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And I heard it wasn't that good.
It's fine.
And then he did a couple others that nobody watched. Like that's where Keanu Reeves' career was at.
It's fine.
It was nowhere at that point. And he was just a guy that was popping up in basically straight to Walmart bin level kind of movies. And they didn't even put out the first trailer for John Wick until 4 weeks before its release. 4 weeks before its release,
That's
they
why I
put out
never
the
saw
first
one.
trailer.
I never saw one too. I remember that.
Yeah.
I walked into that theater cold, not seeing no poster, no trailer, nothing. It took Dennis Zen to tell me, "Oh, let's go watch this. It has Keanu Reeves and it's 100% on Rotten Tomatoes." Okay, fine, let's go. That was
And it
it was
blew
awesome.
us away. And every movie has made more and more at the box office, which is a rare thing to do. But that movie completely had me hooked. Like, first of all, I was already into it. They did the ballsy thing by killing that puppy, which honestly, narratively, is one of the smartest things I've ever seen a movie did, because we've talked about this before. By killing the puppy, they needed to do something that got the audience fully on board with the horrible violence and murder he was about to do. And when they killed that puppy, all of us across the world watching that movie went, whatever John Wick does to anybody is now justified, right?
yeah.
It was perfect.
It's almost like watching that car speed by you and then the cop finally. It made no sense why they did what they did to John Wick, like killing his puppy, like over a car, over like a little confrontation at the gas station. That's why it was like so much worse for me, because they didn't have to do that.
And why it was so satisfying that John Wick did
Happened to
then
be the greatest killer in the
But
in
the
that
moment I got hooked was that scene, and I've watched this on YouTube so many times, when John Leguizamo calls the mafia boss and says, "I understand you hit my son." "Well, sir, blah, 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 blah." It was John Wick's car. And the line that just killed me. "Oh." And then he hangs up. That, without having to go fully into his backstory yet, the Russian mob boss just hearing that, "Oh, it was John Wick." Oh, like now I totally get it. I understand why you bitch slapped my son. I get it now, because now we're all fucked.
yeah.
And then he tells the story of the Baba Yaga. And that's my one complaint about, because I love all the John Wick movies, but my one complaint about John Wick's 2, 3, and 4 is that in John Wick 1, everybody in the underworld on the planet knew, if John Wick's name even gets whispered in a bar, get out of the bar. But then in John Wick's 2, 3, and 4, it's like, oh, we want to kill John Wick, and everybody's like, oh, no problem, John Wick. Nobody's scared of him. And they need to, if they do make another one, they need to reestablish that he is the Baba Yaga. When his name gets mentioned, people piss themselves. They need to do that.
With how the last one ended, they would have to, right?
I mean, but the way
he's
the
now a
second one ended.
spiritual entity, essentially. If it's,
Yeah.
wait, Wick isn't in the ground? Are you fucking kidding me?
Nothing can kill him.
Yeah.
But then you look at the reaction of the son when he was like, after his dad punched him, he's like, "We'll take care of him." Like the
Because he didn't know.
The hubris of young
Everybody
men.
else did.
Right.
And they should have acted accordingly. Anyway. Okay, what's next?
Anthony says, "Hey John, did you guys talk about the Mass Effect TV series in the works? Someone mentioned it yesterday."
Yeah, again, from what I understand, it's not greenlit. It's in development. A lot of things go into development before they get greenlit. So we'll probably talk more about it if it gets to that next stage. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, "I still think the most disruptive move the movie theaters could make is figuring out how to add a child-friendly screen. Make it half like Jungle Gym, half normal seats. Kids can run around freely. Lights are dim. They'd make so much off young families."
No, they
But
wouldn't.
That's
No, they
so
wouldn't.
much
'Cause
insurance and
families wouldn't-
liability.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and families wouldn't go.
Well, and they already have screenings that are crybaby screenings, is what a
Yeah.
lot of theaters call them. where it's-
Mom-friendly
Yeah,
and-
your kids can run around up front. It's a whole bunch of other parents. If your kid screams, it's other people who have signed up to see that movie, knowing, hey, these kids are probably going to lose it during it.
But setting up a theater like with a jungle, well, then no family's going to go because they know we're not even, like, at that point, just take your kid to a park.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, nobody's there to see the movie at that point. Just take your kid to a park. And so
insurance would
nobody
be
would go see
through the
it.
roof, too.
The insurance of it for sure. But like families wouldn't go to that. Like they'll go, and it has been successful for some theaters that, hey, this one's a mom-friendly screening, a family-friendly screening, which means hey, everybody coming to this screening understands that there might be some crying babies, there might be whatever, that's fine. But that's different from saying, oh, we're going to set up a PlayStation over here, and we're going to have a jungle gym over here. And it's like, well, at that point, they're not even going to
Stay
see the
home.
movie. Yeah, stay home or just take your kids to a park. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got some member chats here.
Jungle Gym.
King Daddy says, "Hey, John and crew have been checking out From, and while I'm intrigued as hell, going to be binging all the week. Have you guys seen it? Thanks, bring on the filthy."
Why do people keep asking me if I've seen From?
Yeah, have you seen
Yes. As a matter of fact, like I mentioned this before, I first started watching From season 1. Honestly, the reason I started watching is because the creators of the show paid me a ass load of money to watch it and to tweet about it. And whenever I did, I made it very clear. This is sponsored. I've been sponsored, blah, 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 blah. But I think, what did they give me? Like $5,000 or $10,000 they gave me just to put out like 3 tweets. 3 tweets. 3 or 4 tweets. So anyway, that's
have
what
money,
got
baby.
me watching. That's what got me watching the show. It's like, okay, but I love the main star of it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's watch this. Cause he was in Sons of Anarchy. He was in Leonardo DiCaprio's Romeo and Juliet. He was in The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. He was in Oz, which I used to love that show, Oz. Anyway, so I got hooked on that show, like right away. And I like blazed through the entire first season. And then I forgot about the show. I totally forgot about it. And like season 3 is now out. I haven't watched season 2 yet. So yes, From is great. At least the first season is great. And so I got to get back on that and start watching the second season now. All right, what's next?
Slarf says, have you been or have been going back and rewatching all the Batman movies because of the Penguin hype? What are some of your favorites? Val Kilmer was such an enjoyable Bat.
I thought Val Kilmer was a good Batman.
Yeah.
I did too.
I
Great
didn't-
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he was a wonderful Bruce Wayne. I especially love that scene when like he's talking to his guy, full benefits, talking about making sure the benefits family. Like I really liked him in that role. Didn't love the movie, but whatever. I mean, my favorite Batman movie is still, I mean, everybody's going to say this is The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight's my favorite Batman movie. I still think Ben Affleck might be my favorite Batman, but my favorite, I mean, how about you?
I mean, I also really like the animated ones. I don't know if we're gonna count those in there because
Like Mask of the Phantasm
Mask
and
of the
stuff?
Phantasm. The gosh, what was the Dr. Freeze one? Because that's, I mean, Batman the Animated Series is why
Nora.
we have that.
Nora.
Like Frozen Heart or something like that. Oh, it was so
Heart of
good.
Ice.
Heart of Ice. Thank you. Oh, it's great. But yeah, Dark Knight.
There you
All
go.
right, what's next?
Jai CC says over under 20%. Moana 2 tops Inside Out 2 opening weekend. Currently projected for 135. I still say over. I don't know if it'll beat
Well,
the box office, but
Hold on a
over
second.
opening weekend.
It's that 135 is not its actual projected opening weekend. That's its opening 4-day weekend projection is 135. Its actual opening weekend right now is projected for about 85. But I will take over 20%, not over 60%, but I'll take over 20% that it still beats the 154 million opening weekend of Inside Out 2. Remember, Inside Out 2's, before it came out, its opening weekend projection was at about 80 to 90 million. And it ended up making 154 million. Right now, and there's still weeks to go, Moana is projected, I think, between 85 and 90 million. I think it will eclipse that. And I'll take over 20. So I'm not saying it will beat Inside Out 2 opening weekend, but I will take over 20%. Chris, what do you think of the odds that it actually beats Inside Out 2's opening weekend?
Oh, I'd go pretty high on it. I think there's a huge chance of it taking it. Odds though, math. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take-
75% chance.
I won't say over 50%, but I will definitely say over 20%. All right, what's next?
Oh, we got another over under here. Dalton says over under 40%. The Batman 3 comes out before December 2030.
Under.
You think it comes
Under.
out?
'Cause right now, we'll be lucky if Batman 2 comes out by 2026. So that means I think it's possible Batman 3 could come out by 2030. But it's the thing is, the one complaint about Matt Reeves is he moves so goddamn slow. He's so fucking slow.
Yeah, Jonathan.
I can't do everything. God, damn.
But whatever. So so it's possible it comes up before 2030. I'll take the under on it though. All right, what's next?
Okay, Jonathan says, "Hi everyone. I have to admit I haven't been feeling the most recent 2 episodes of Penguin. The writing feels less sharp, with them making things way too easy for Oz and making Sal and Sophia make uncharacteristically dumb decisions. Plus, they never really explained how Oz was able to get the talent needed to regrow Bliss, or why
Yes, they did.
Sophia couldn't hold on to her own lab."
I disagree with everything you said. And that's subjective. I mean, that's how it hit you. Your opinion is no less valid than mine. But I personally disagree with it. They laid the groundwork for how Oz was able to get that crew together in episode 1. Then in the early episodes, he told the story about, remember the old gangster? He said he was loved. Why? Because he provided. He gave people money. He gave them hope and stuff like that. All that groundwork was done in the early episodes. So when it came around to that, and then he calls back to that and talking to Vic, he goes, we're giving these people the things they need. So they love us and they're going to be loyal to us. All that groundwork was laid in the early episodes. Plus, I don't think Maroney or Sophia made any dumb decisions. If anything, Sophia outthought everybody, including Maroney.
Yeah.
And so she's playing 4-dimensional chess. And so that again, I'm not crapping on that you saw it differently. That's perfectly valid. I'm just saying myself, I had a very different experience. Chris, I know you've been enjoying the show.
Yeah.
What do you think about the last couple of episodes?
I loved it. Sophia's outplaying everyone.
Yeah.
She's so smart and so scary. I love it.
So smart. Oh, all right. What's next?
Carmelo says, "If this Joker series is as good as Penguin, I'm 100% down."
Well, sure. If they did a series called Bartholomew the Butthole, if they make it as good as Penguin, I'll love it. Yes, but that's the $1 million thing, though, right? Is can you make it as good as Penguin? Because absolutely, if they can even get close to it, I'll be all for it. 100%, I'll be all for
Is
it.
that a part of the Dark Universe?
Yeah.
The
ball?
Bartholomew the Butthole?
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
totally
dark.
different thing. I just made that up.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be T-shirts all over the place. All right, what's next?
All right, Matt says, "Hello, everyone. I really enjoy both this show at the moment. This show is great in comfort, and I really enjoy discovering American sports from you guys." So he's talking about also filthy sports. "Even if I know as much about them as Chris."
Hey,
Question. He's putting himself in the same boat.
Yeah.
As a way, I think for a busy business owner myself, what was your process to bring back balance in your life? With a toddler and over 30 employees, it's hard for me to find time.
Listen, the one advantage I've had over the last bunch of years is that like Ann and I don't have kids. I think what I've been able to do would probably be limited a bunch. And yeah, listen, at one point I had like I think at one point at our peak, I had over like 25 people. If you're talking full-time and part-time and stuff like that, I think I had over like 25 people working for me when I was at AMC and Collider and stuff like that. But those were years that I did not have a good balance in life. I fortunately had an insanely supportive wife who was like, was extremely understanding and really behind everything I was doing. And that's what made it possible. But, a couple years ago, maybe like 2 years ago, I made a decision. No, I'm not going to live like this anymore. It was just too much. Like I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and it was just like, no, not going to do this anymore. And I downsized considerably. And that was the best thing I've probably ever done professionally. Everybody's formula and mathematical equation to bringing proper work-life balance is going to be different and unique because your life and your situation is going to be different and unique. The things that you need to dedicate more time to may be different from the things I need to dedicate more time to. The things that you're dedicating too much time to are going to be different than the things I dedicate too much time to. I would simply say this, and I know this isn't the answer you're looking for, is that The very fact that you recognize you need to bring a semblance of balance to your life is the biggest step. I mean, that's a big thing. So just really start looking at what are the things I'm neglecting in my life that need more of my attention and I need to be giving more of my time to. And then just understanding the things that are getting your time aren't as valuable as that. And it's hard. Like Chris, I mean, you're a freelancer, you're a professional actor, you do instruction, you teach classes,
produce demos.
You are married, all that kind of stuff. Like what, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here unpreparedly, but if someone were to ask you, what is your key to trying to make sure you strike a balance between all these things you do and a personal life, home life, life with your husband, what have been some keys for you?
Saying no to stuff,
That's
honestly,
hard.
is a big one, because you feel like you're letting people down, but then when you spread yourself too thin, you actually then let people down. Not people pleasing, because then no one's pleased. Because yeah, I do this show, and then Logan and I have auditions, and then Logan and I both teach, and then we produce demos full time. Next week I'm going to miss a day because I'm directing a Walla group, which is really exciting. But it's a lot of that, and then it does help not having kids, and that's a big part of why Logan and I don't want kids or not going to have kids. Is we have struck a really nice balance in our life of we work probably 80-hour weeks ultimately, and there's no room in that for kids, and we're very okay with that. If you're able to balance all of that with children, that's amazing. And I'm very impressed with you, especially if it's because both of you are parenting. I want to be very clear about that. Either you guys have a very good setup of like, hey, if you have kids, the person who is working full time to take care of your children, that's a job. That is a job that deserves so much respect. And if you're co-parenting together, that is amazing too. But man, boundaries are the biggest thing here. Oof.
Yeah, but I like the thing, being able to say no.
Yeah.
And then the next level up is saying no to things you're already doing.
Yes.
That's even harder. Like to take the things you're already committed to and you're already doing and saying, you know what, these are big and these are important, but I've decided these other things are more important. And so no, it's a tough thing. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much. There it is again for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me. Ray Ora.
Later.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys Monday.
Chris Carr.
Bye, everybody.
My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.